Hi, it's Rachel from 7 and All, and
hi, I'm Angel.
I have him joining me with in my video today, which it's been quite a while since he's been in a video. This is not the first time, but it's been a while since we've done a video together, and I'm excited about this one. Alright, in today's video, this video is in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. We're going to be sharing how we help our boys to connect to their own Hispanic heritage and to just learn about amazing Latino people through history and culture and have that connection. And I'm also going to be sharing resources for you, whether your family is Hispanic or Latino or not at all, but you're just a homeschool family who wants to learn more about a different culture. Then we're going to be sharing some great book and resource recommendations. So we'll start with kind of our own story, then move to the book recommendations. And I want to be sure to tell you that this is a collab video with my friend Tiffany from Little Pod School. On Instagram, she is Rod Pod Mama, and she is raising boys and one new little baby girl, but her boys are older than ours, so she might have some books that are more appropriate to older kids. And definitely go and check out her video. I will leave her link in the description below. So we are raising half Mexican, half Caucasian kids in Asia. So there's a term for these kind of kids. They're called third culture kids when they're being raised in a culture different from the parents' culture. But something that's very important to us is we didn't want them just because of where they grew up or just because they are kind of mixed heritage to not feel a connection to your culture. Mm-hmm. And for our family, the biggest way we do that is through
language learning. I think language learning is the key to get at least our boys to actually belong in a culture and identify with that culture. I mean, they're going to probably miss a lot of the culture stuff that I personally grew up with. Maybe they won't know Chavo del Ocho or Sábado Gigante, and probably a lot more music that I listened to when I was growing up, Spanish music. But that's not what's actually going to hook them into the culture. It's not what it's actually going to give them the key to actually be.
It can be an anchor.
It could be an anchor, but the language is the key to getting into that culture and that the benefits of it. And so that's why we are hitting language learning hard.
So definitely not all Latino people speak Spanish, but for you were born into a Spanish-speaking family. You grew up, you've spoken Spanish your whole life. You now work in teaching Spanish, so it's really, really key and important for you, important for your family, and important for our kids to be able to connect to their family and to be able to enjoy the same kind of things that you enjoy, the same music, the jokes, which it's really hard to get Spanish jokes when you're not super good at Spanish.
Yes.
Because I feel like you share a lot of memes with me and I don't understand them. Mm-hmm. So to simplify things, we could say we're raising our kids speaking Spanish so that they can understand all the memes that you enjoy so much.
Yeah, there are a lot of Spanish memes and they're great, and even stories in Spanish, and they're just wonderful.
Yes. So for our family, that's been a huge priority. We are in the very early years of child raising. The first 4 years are very, very key for language development. So how we are making sure our kids can participate in their heritage culture is through we just immerse them as much as possible in our own home in Spanish. So we do listen to Spanish music. If you want some Spanish music recommendations, whether you're trying to learn Spanish or you just want some music for your kids to listen to, kid-friendly Spanish music. If you're Christian, we really like Fernando Ortega for Christian Spanish hymns. He has absolutely beautiful albums. Camino Largo is what we listen to on many mornings. For kids music, we listen to Jose Luis Orozco, who has a lot of kids educational kind of music and traditional songs, and I've been learning a lot from that. Do you have any recommendations for
kids music? Probably not, but I do have my kids listen to some Pepe Aguilar, Luis Miguel, Magneto,
So you,
Christian
Martin,
Car, Christian. Yeah, it's just some older stuff. So
the kind of music you grew up
the
to.
kind of music I grew up with is I have them listening to a lot of Camilo Sesto.
So the traditional artists that you enjoy, you're still sharing with your kids.
Yeah.
So we do listen to music, we read a lot of Spanish books, and especially you try to really prioritize just speaking Spanish with them. They respond very well to Spanish commands, and we're seeing it so much with our 3-year-old that he's speaking Spanish very, very well already.
Yeah, so Cyrus is speaking quite a lot of Spanish for a 3-year-old, probably like 80% at home. And this is not new to us. I actually saw this in another family who had their kids grow up overseas, and I was very surprised and shocked at how much Spanish he spoke and understood. And that to me gave me hope that, oh yeah, it's doable. It's not hard. It's just I have to speak. We have to speak and read at home, and that it helps.
So this is an encouragement for other bilingual families that might not have a local community. Definitely a local community helps for language learning, but even if you don't, if you really make it a priority.
Yeah, I mean, learning does happen in community, but learning actually happens by
at home.
Parents. Teachers, your parents. So that's where it starts, is at home. So we're not going to go into this and say, oh, we're going to rely on the community. We don't really need to. It starts at home.
So now for you and your family, you might want to learn more about Latino culture, Hispanic culture, but you might not necessarily want to become fully bilingual. That's also totally fine. Bilingualism isn't for everyone. I am going to cheer on and encourage anyone who chooses it. But if you are living in America or living in anywhere where you have any kind of local Spanish-speaking community, it can be great to at least learn some of the basics. So I do encourage you to be open to listening to some music, to learning some of the basic phonics, learning basic vocabulary, because Spanish is a very influential part of a culture, of their culture, this culture. Language is a key to you understand a lot more about the culture when you understand the language. And I think for you personally, Spanish is very, very close to your heart. I remember when we were newlyweds and we would go to Mexican restaurants, I was always confused because the staff would just start speaking to him in Spanish before he even said anything. And I was always like, why are they speaking to you in Spanish? How do they know you speak Spanish? And he would always tell me, like, of course I speak Spanish. Like, he couldn't imagine being himself and not speaking Spanish. So that was, I think that's a very motivational thing for you for raising the kids speaking Spanish, because it's such a big part of your identity.
Yeah.
Specifically.
I mean, it's a way to say, oh, okay, I understand you and you understand me, and it's awesome, because there's something you can't describe, but there's something deep that connects those two people. And I know I've had that connection with strangers that I don't know, and the only connection we have is language. And sometimes Rachel is baffled with why
I just wandered off to go talk to some random stranger.
Went to go talk to that person, and talk to them in Spanish, and I treated him out for a meal, and Rachel's like, what? It's like, he speaks Spanish. I bought him a meal. There's a family sitting next to us at the 4th of July parade, and Rachel's like, I'm surprised you didn't go talk to them. I was like, yeah, it's okay. They had a lot of people to talk to.
He's usually, because we live in a place where you don't hear Spanish much, I think that's always a magnetic draw for you. If you ever hear the language, you're like, oh, friends, instant friends. Yeah. Did we just become friends?
So somewhere out here in a place where it's not spoken, it's like, you instantly connect, and that's awesome. In a place like Texas, there's everybody speaking it. You're not connecting, but you feel at home. You feel comfortable. I feel comfortable. I feel at home, and that's nice.
So I guess that's kind of the first part of the video, which is our personal journey that we've been sharing with you in many videos, has been the journey into bilingual homeschooling, bilingual parenting, and helping our kids to connect to this culture through language, and to connect to 2 different cultures while living in a 3rd culture. It's an adventure that we're on, and we're just going to continue in it for the future. Now, Hispanic Heritage Month is for everybody. It's not just for families who are looking to connect to their own Hispanic heritage, their own Latino heritage. It is for anybody who wants to take a chance. Maybe you don't have a personal connection, but you want your kids to learn more about a culture that they might not know so much about yet. And a great way to do that, this is the homeschooler's favorite way to get started, is with books. I do have a whole video I can link to in the cards about how in homeschool diversity we can get so much farther beyond picture books. So I recommend that you watch that video if you haven't yet, so that you can see how you can get beyond the books. But I did want to share some specifically good books for you guys today that are part of our collection. And we have little kids, so we're at the beginning. We're not getting into super serious and intense history or anything. We're just building stories. And most of our books are in Spanish, but all of these books are either bilingual or available in English versions, and I will be sharing the English version links below. Also, Book Outlet has been where I bought most of these books, and I will link to my referral code that can give you $10 off your first purchase. Book Outlet is a great source for very inexpensive Spanish books. Specifically, they have a really good selection of Spanish picture books and just a lot of picture books in general, so I recommend checking them out. But I'll share these books here. Mi papi tiene una moto. It's got a motorcycle in it, so the boys love it already because the motorcycle's zooming around. This takes place specifically in Corona, California.
Corona, California, and basically Southern California. And when I flipped through the book, I was like, "Oh yeah, this looks just
like home.
This looks like a Hispanic community." In fact, we went to visit my aunt in California, and we stayed at her house. And this was before this book that she just showed you. And when she was looking at this book, she says,
"Looks like your aunt's house."
Looks like my aunt, she said it looks like your aunt's house. And I was like, "Yeah, that's how they look." Yep. So it's very representative of a Hispanic community
in California. Yeah. And then we have Yuyi Morales. You can also, if you find one good book representing Mexican culture or Hispanic culture, it's great to look at the author and start seeing if they have more books. She has quite a few books. Yuyi Morales. This has been one of our favorites since my boy was very little. It's kind of really silly. Niño Wrestles the World.
Yeah.
It's a little boy pretending to be a luchador, and he's wrestling with La Llorona and La Momia de Guanajuato.
El Chamuco.
Yeah, so it's pretty silly. It brings in Mexican folktales, kind of bad guys.
Yeah, really
Scary.
Symbolic Mexican folktales, and that's the best part of it.
And that one's totally in English. This one is in a mix of English and Spanish. I Love Saturdays y Domingos, which is about a little girl with Caucasian English-speaking grandparents and then Spanish-speaking grandparents on the other side. And it is really cute and adorable. But this one you would probably have to speak both languages because it doesn't have two different versions. It's just one version with mixed languages, which represents our kids' life very well. This one is Lola. This is in English. This is called Island Born. Is the English version. So look for Island Born if you're looking for the English version. This takes place in the Dominican Republic. It has beautiful, beautiful pictures. Very colorful. Little girl in the Dominican Republic and her life. So this one is definitely going to be for older kids. It's not totally like a preschool level. A little bit older. They don't have to be super old. Maybe like 5 years old kind of book would be the target age. I have a couple of older kids picture books because when I went to America, I was shopping for the future because kids grow. That's what they do. El Violin de Ara. This has an English version as well. Probably something like Ada's Violin, but I'm not sure of the exact title. And this is a story that takes place in Paraguay. So also something important to remember when you're looking at Hispanic heritage, Latino heritage, it's not just Mexico. There's a lot of different countries represented. So you can look for, Dominican Republic, Paraguay, different countries throughout Central and South America, to see the different cultures, some differences between them. A big part of culture is, of course, the songs of childhood and the nursery rhymes of childhood, which that's something I didn't know anything about in Spanish, because I know, of course, all the songs and nursery rhymes in English, London Bridge, and all the Mother Goose rhymes, the old woman who lived in a shoe. But I don't know any of the traditional ones in Spanish, and you actually...
nursery rhymes were... we didn't read them. It was just an oral... we just heard them orally, so we didn't memorize them as well, just because it wasn't like reading was a part of growing up, for me at least, in terms of like when I was really young.
Really little.
Yeah.
So I actually found these two books to be great, and this one is bilingual. Let me see. They're both bilingual, so they're both in English and in Spanish. Diez Deditos is little play rhymes and action songs. So it's the little finger games. So in English we have 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed like this, but then there's different ones in Spanish. So together with my kids, I'm learning right along with them, learning the different little play rhymes, finger plays in Spanish, with Diez Deditos. And then Piopi is the traditional Spanish nursery rhymes, and they have translations in English of each one. So this was one I learned quite a while ago. Un elefante se balanceaba, because my son loves elephants. So this is a little song and a little rhyme that we have actually sung many, many times already, which is about an elephant balancing on a spider web. They are just as unrealistic as Mother Goose rhymes. This is the quintessential nursery rhyme thing. And this was one we read last night at bedtime, because it's Pele, King of Soccer. This is a bilingual copy, El Rey de Fútbol. I did not know until we got engaged that football was going to be such a big part of my life, and that it was such a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal in many cultures, but it is a very big deal in Hispanic culture. And it's a big deal for you.
Every culture pretty much. Soccer.
It was a World Cup year, the summer that we got engaged, and he was visiting me for just 2 weeks, which meant we were spending time together during the day, but then at night he'd be going off to random people's houses that had a TV, because we didn't have any TV service, and trying to watch all the World Cup games all night long.
Yep, they were like at 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and it's because we're in Asia,
different
and so
part.
the timing is bad. So it's not the first time. It's actually last World Cup.
And then we've been through 3 World Cups together, I think,
Yes.
and we're still together. So, but communicating that love of football and soccer, and of course Pele, from history of soccer, to our kids. That's a very easy thing. You want to do something special for Hispanic Heritage Month. Learn about some of the great soccer players and play soccer, but try to call it football.
Go to a soccer game, a real soccer game. Oh man, yes.
You'd be so excited.
Yes. I remember going to my first soccer game. My dad took me to. It was Mexico versus Saudi Arabia, and anyways.
Okay, and then. Radio Man, Arthur Doros has several very good books. Radio Man is about migrant worker farm families. It's another great, that's a huge part of American history and how American farms have survived throughout the years. So I really recommend this book. And while you're at it, you can always pick up some Christmas books featuring tamales or Nochebuena, just to be prepared for your Christmas season, that you can... I did not know anything about the way Mexicans celebrate Christmas until I got married. That was my big learning experience, and Nochebuena being such a big deal, and tamales being such a big deal.
The biggest thing I think was staying up till midnight to open presents. That was a big... You were like, what? And for us, even when I saw movies growing up, it's like, why are they opening presents in the morning? Like all of the Home Alone and the Santa Claus movies, it's just like the presents are open at night, which is midnight. So it was it was different for you and different for me. So.
Yeah. So these are some books that you can, just a starting point to get to read if you have young kids that you want to celebrate this culture with, learn more about this culture with during this month. You know, take some time to listen to just play some Spanish music instead of some English music, and just to hear the different language, the beauty of different lyrics. Maybe learn some Spanish words, because the language it's a very uniting thing from the culture, because Hispanic people can come from so many different countries. They don't all look the same. You know, we've got different shades of skin, different hair textures, all that. But for many, which not everyone speaks Spanish anymore for those who've come to America, but for many, Spanish is the big tying thing, the kind of language of commonality that does it's a big deal. It's a big love thing for you. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you want to watch more videos about homeschool and bilingual homeschool, definitely feel free to click the button below to subscribe to our channel, and you can like this video. And I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.